Okay, hi everyone. So I'm going to talk a little bit today about some of the principles and things that I've learned working with analytics projects over the last couple of years. Oh, I can use this. Okay. Yay! Okay, so this is me. I'm Kylea. I'm a product designer at Automattic. Automattic is the company known for products like WordPress.com, Jetpack, WooCommerce, things like that. So I live in Montreal, where I work from home. So my team is actually distributed all around the world. All of Automattic is distributed around the world. I just hang out in Montreal most of the time. So this is like a pretty good quote. I think that sums up like what data visualization is. So by visualizing information, we turn it into a landscape that you can explore with your eyes, a sort of information map. And when you're lost in information, an information map can be kind of useful. So these are the things that we're going to cover today. We're going to talk a little bit about how you can choose different charts and find the one that's the most appropriate for what you're trying to visualize. We'll talk a bit about designing with real data, about selecting accessible color palettes, and about how to optimize the readability of your chart. So what can we do with data visualization in UX design? So it can be really useful using data visualization when you want to identify relationships between different things. You might want to spot patterns, discover trends. You might just want like some kind of a dashboard so that you can monitor the success of something, or you might use it to quickly digest information. Those are just a few examples. And how can we apply these in UX design? These are two ways. So one way is through a dashboard. Dashboards are typically used as kind of an overview type thing when you want to visually monitor the most important things. So you should be able to digest everything at a glance. And the second way would be through reports, which is usually the more detailed information where you would dive in a little bit further and go more in depth into the data. These are a couple of examples in the real world of what you might expect. A lot of these are kind of analytics-based reporting products, but you'll see like data visualization everywhere, like in fitness apps, like things like that. It's everywhere. It's all around us. So number one, how can we choose charts that are appropriate for what we're trying to visualize? So there's a couple of different steps involved in this. Number one, what is the question that you're trying to answer? That's the first thing you need to know. Are you trying to compare things to each other? Do you need to figure out some kind of a trend? And then what is the best way to communicate that message? You can always go back around. So if you come up with something and it doesn't answer the question, you might need to start again. These are some common charts that you'll see used, and these are the three that I'll cover today. So we have bar charts, which are really, really great for comparing individual pieces of data. You can use in time series, part-to-whole relationships, things like that. Line charts are really great for visualizing information over time series, and trends. And tables are really great for when you need more detailed metrics and to compare like individual values to each other. This is just some really quick examples of, this is the line chart, which is used here to see the trend over time. So my visitors over this period of time, and I can see how it does to the previous period. These are a couple of examples of some bar charts. So the one on the left is my customers. How many of my customers are new versus returning over time. So I can see in April I had like a lot of returning customers. So I wonder why that is. I might want to dig in and find out a little bit more. On the right, we have an example from Etsy. I really like this because the way it's displayed, you can kind of scan down and really quickly see like what's doing really well and what not doing so well. And these are just a couple of tables here where the most important thing is like they're really detailed, accurate numbers, and I might have like three or more metrics that I want to display at once. So a table is like a really good choice for visualizing this kind of stuff. So I want to talk a little bit about pie charts. So these are a few examples of pies. It's the real pie. This is Japan as a pie. Pyramid. And a Pac-Man. So the point of this is that usually pies aren't the best choice. If you have two pieces of data, it can work really well. But as soon as you start to go like three or more, it's usually best displayed in a bar chart like this. So if I ask you, I want to find out here, like how old are my users? Because I'm interested in finding more about the demographic. So I can really quickly see in this example that it's the 25 to 34 range. but it might take me a little bit more time in the pie because of the cognitive overload to kind of map a piece of the pie to the label, and there's just a lot more going on. Whereas in the bar chart, it's like a lot more concise and easy to kind of see the values. So number 2, we're going to talk a little bit about designing with real data and some tricks you can use to do that. So the importance of designing with real data. So data is more than numbers, and to visualize it, you must know what it represents. So data represents real life. It's a snapshot of the world in the same way that a photograph captures a small moment in time. So it's really important that you are actually representing real information when you're designing data visualization, otherwise you might not be doing the right thing. So some of the benefits of using real data, you will gain a way better understanding of the design problem. You can then make your decisions based on that understanding, so it's always going to be content first design. You'll be able to uncover edge cases. For example, if you design a beautiful chart and then you realize that like most of your users' data is more like this, and then it doesn't look as nice when you actually put it out there into the real world. Or maybe you designed a table where you use really short column names, but they're actually like really long, like 5 or 6 words. Like, how do you deal with that kind of thing? And then the 4th point is that users can relate really well during testing. So they can actually empathize with your product if the data speaks to them and they know like what it's about. So these are just a few useful tools. There's lots more, but Craft is a tool by Envision that it helps you to simulate real data, and then Google Sheets and Numbers are 2 really good tools to like kind of explore and play with data a little bit. So this is the first example using Craft. So here you can kind of map values. This is a sketch document. You can map each of these values to a custom type using the Craft plugin, which comes right into Sketch like this. And then what I can do is I can just duplicate the content, and I'm simulating like a whole lot of data in here without having to actually type any of it in. Really nice. And as you can see, the country column doesn't work very well because they're overlapping and they're too long. So this is my favorite one. This is you can actually use Craft to import JSON files. So I've imported a JSON file with like all the most popular movies right now. And then I can do the same thing where I map each of the values in here to a value from the JSON file that I pulled in. And then I'll do exactly the same thing that I did before, where I just kind of duplicate that row, and then it automatically fills in. It pulls everything from the JSON file and fills in my table, which is really nice. One other thing I'd probably do here is actually turn the very first row into like a sketch symbol, because then if I want to change it at all, I only have to change it once rather than. So this is a really useful tool, and it saves so much time. This here is using Numbers, which is an Apple product. So if you have like an export of some of the raw data that you might be using, you can pull that into Numbers. You can use their different charts and kind of play around with it until you find something that works really well. And then if you export it as a PDF, you can then put it straight into Sketch again, and you don't have to create the chart yourself. You can just start designing from here with the real data already mapped onto a chart. So this also saves a lot of time. Okay, so the 3rd point is choosing an accessible color palette and making sure that it's accessible and everyone can see it. So the first thing you need to do is understand like what type of data is it that you're trying to represent. Is it sequential? So does it go in a row from high to low? Is it diverging, which means you more care about the ranges of data and the different ends of the spectrum? Or is it qualitative? So everything is kind of like an individual unique thing. And so this tool is great for helping you with this. It's called Color Brewer. It's meant for maps, but you can use it for whatever you want, and other types of charts as well. You basically just have to choose like the number of classes you need, the nature of your data from before, is it sequential, divergent, or qualitative? And then another really cool thing is you can select this box here, which is colorblind safe. So you can make sure it's only giving you appropriate colors so people can see them. So accessibility. Making sure that the colors are distinguishable for everyone. So there's actually quite a large proportion of people that are colorblind. I think it's like 1 in 8 men and 1 in 200 women, so it's quite a lot. So So this is another tool that you can use. I think it's pronounced daltonism, but it's basically a simulator that you can download to kind of simulate those different forms of color blindness while you're designing. So this is how it works. So on the right, so some people may not be able to see this, I don't know. On the right, I have two different colors here. So I have a purple and a blue. And then on the left-hand side here, I'm using the tool that I showed you previously, where you just put the kind of window over the design. And as you can see, they look exactly the same. So some people might not be able to distinguish these at all. This is the type, I think it's a green-blue type of color blindness. So then in this example here, I've just changed the colors a little bit to make them kind of like one's more, way more saturated than the other one. And now I can kind of see the difference when I put this tool over top of it. Okay, so the last point we're going to talk about is optimizing readability and making sure people can get the most important information. So you want to make sure that you're emphasizing the right things. So by that I mean you want to reduce anything that is not related to the actual data. And then you want to de-emphasize the remaining non-data ink that's on the page. And lastly, you can emphasize the most important things so that they stand out a little bit more. So I'm going to run through a couple of examples of doing this. This is just like a raw table. So I'm going to start by like removing some of the horizontal lines that I don't really need, giving it a little bit more space so now it can kind of breathe. The horizontal lines, I can replace those with just like zebra stripes, so I can still easily read it from left to right, but it feels like it's a little lighter now. Then I can lighten the top and bottom lines and emphasize the data along the bottom because it's the totals. So that's probably one of the most important values. This is another example of a chart here. So I'm going to just simplify the line a little bit, change the colors maybe, make it a little lighter, and so that the line isn't so like sharp. And then I can also reduce the colors along both axes so they're not so dark. We can also simplify them. They don't need to be like, I don't need to see every single decimal point. And then doing this, I'm going to give it a little bit more context so I know what it's about now. This is sales in the last 30 days, and they're trending up by 13%. And the last thing you might want to experiment with is kind of like, how do you interact with this? So if I was going to like hover my mouse over this, like how do I see the different values and what they are on each step? And lastly, optimizing for mobile. So I'm going to show you a couple of like what I think are really cool examples of mobile chat interaction. So this is the first one. This is Google Analytics tool, and I really like this. I really like how you can choose what type of data you want, what type of chat you want at the bottom here. I can choose it to be like a bar or a table or whatever I want, and I can explore it until I find the different answers that I want, and I can keep digging in and changing things like the metrics and the dimensions until I have some answers to the questions that I have. This is a table from the Shopify report app. And so on the left side, I have like the column here is fixed so that I always have context of each row. And then I can kind of scroll it, and the pips at the top allow me to see where I am in the table, so I'm never going to be lost. Because it's really, really hard to visualize like big tables on mobile if you have like a lot of different columns. And this one I really like as well is from the Etsy app. So basically, if you like click on any of the different bars, you get a little bit more context. So say the bar was really high one day, and I wanted to know why. If I click on it, it shows me the event that happened in the day. Maybe I listed a couple more items or ran some promotions, and then I can choose which metrics I want to compare to each other, so that I can kind of like play around and explore a little bit. And this is the last example. This is the Stocks app on Apple. What I really like about this is as soon as you start to like kind of interact with it, it takes everything else away. So you're not kind of distracted by everything. You only have the context of the value that you're currently on, and it's nice and clean. I really like that. So just to kind of go back over the things we covered, because it's a lot, and there's way, way, way more that you can learn about this. This is kind of just the surface of this topic. But we talked about choosing charts, making sure that you choose the most appropriate chart for the data, designing with real data, and how important it is to making sure it's giving an accurate representation. selecting colors, making sure that your color palette is accessible. And lastly, optimizing readability so that your charts are like the most readable as possible. And that's it. Thank you very much. You can reach me on Twitter or email. And yeah.